Hello.
Oh god. It's only us this week.
No, it's not. It's Heather. Hi. And it's Serena. The only thing I can say in Canadian is a boot.
Yeah.
I can do that very well though. And who else may we have on the who else do we have on the podcast, in fact? What am I saying? There's Heather, Serena, and Georgia. And Fran, of course. I think that
Okay.
was very successful.
So we haven't been around for a while because it's like trying to herd cats, trying to get this podcast started on Saturday mornings is trying to herd cats with like gangrene into a bathtub. And so that's been our excuse really.
Well,
That and I couldn't do it one week because my internet got knocked out because of the tropical storm that hit like 3 weeks ago.
now I still can't believe you live in a place that gets tropical storms.
Yeah, that wasn't fun. But we didn't get hit by it. I mean, we got a lot of rain and wind. We never. The area that I live in is super weird because we never get hit head on by hurricanes or tropical storms because we live in like this curve of the southern part of the country, and somehow like trade winds like converge in that area, so it's like super weird, so we never get hit directly by anything.
But do you even get do you get the fallout from it
Oh
though? I mean,
yeah,
is that
yeah. Wind and
sounds so bad? I
knock
mean,
down trees and shit.
when I think of a tropical storm, I think of like the end of Fern Gully. Because yeah, like such a foreign idea, quite literally a foreign idea to an Englishman.
Yeah, you guys don't fucking get hurricanes.
No, well, I mean, I'm
They
sure.
just don't come up there or something. I don't. It's something to do with currents and air currents. They don't make their way
I
up
think
there.
Dad slept through one about 15. No, no, it's got to be longer than that because it was before I was born and I'm 24. Yeah, Jesus, probably about 25 years ago, I think my dad slept through one, which is pretty amazing. But I mean, even then, I think it must have been relatively mild. I mean, I think what England is it's called a temperate zone, which means that it's just very sort of grey and humid pretty much of the time.
Yeah, that's the way it
Like,
is right now, actually. But it's always
yeah,
humidity where it's like, yeah, it's gonna be high 80s today. And I'm like, oh, that sounds great. And I go outside and my face almost burns off because it's damn near 100 degrees. Because they don't include humidity in the fucking, when they're saying what's the temperature going to be like today? Because they have a thing that's like the temperature, and then they have the heat index, which is, in layman's terms, how hot it feels. So it can be 89 degrees or
but
like
it's still.
94 degrees,
See, I
but
didn't know
it
that
feels
this
102.
is very impressive.
Yeah.
See, I think the reason why we had bad weather today in England was because it's the weekend of not not just one but two festivals, Glastonbury and West End Live, which I went to this morning, and it's I mean it is some sort of sod's law that you can't have nice weather for a festival.
Hmm.
I mean, it's. I don't think historically it's ever happened. I don't expect it ever will. There probably is some sort of scientific explanation for it. But no, so the weather is of course awful today throughout the
The
UK.
worst thing you guys get over there is riots, and that's about it, right?
So we're terrible for riots. We love our riots. Honestly, like a couple of years ago, there was the one in Haringey with all the shops getting shop windows getting smashed in and all the TVs and sneakers getting nicked. Um, Soccer riots. We're a very unhappy people, Greer.
Like the worst we get here is like branches get in the street and like the occasional light flood, and that's about it.
The only thing that I've heard that's closely resembled the idea of a riot is this. It's some sort of. We talked about it on the podcast months and months ago. Some sort of like. It's like a sale during Thanksgiving or like Black Friday or something like
Black
that.
Friday, yeah.
Anywhere near Thanksgiving, or have I got that
It's the day
entirely?
after Thanksgiving.
day after that, yeah, Black Friday. That sounds like it could escalate into a riot.
Black
That sounds
Friday, yeah, you can ask Rose about Black Friday. She's had to work retail on Black Fridays before. So,
that sounds
yeah, yeah, those, I haven't been to one, but I'd love to go to one, just to see what it's like.
Yeah, I bet if you go along with the right attitude, it's probably great fun. But I would be, because I know that when there are protests and things here that get out of hand, the police just, well, the Metropolitan Police, obviously not all of them, but quite a large amount of them are pretty sort of, they kind of take the law into their own hands, let's put it that way, and people can end up getting kettled and beaten up, and yeah, so there's certainly that risk over here. I don't know how similar it is in America.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
riots, we either hear of riots happening in London or England, or they happen in Canada after, like, huge hockey games. There were riots in Vancouver a few years ago that happened over a dumb hockey game, and people were killed and things got set on fire and shit.
See, that's so bizarre, because in other countries, hockey seems to be this really kind of like a real blood sport, whereas over here, it's considered a real gentleman's game. Which is really bizarre. Like, you know, it's like a game that kind of like private school kids play over here. Mm-hmm. Just complete antithesis. It's really strange. So I associate hockey with a load of kind of like buck-toothed posh cunts, but yeah, I guess it's a different story in Canada.
Yeah.
We have that football over here.
Yeah, football over here too. Like, people get really into football, and I don't really get it. But I still go to Super Bowl parties. I don't really get the hype around football, but I'll still go. And
can I ask you, what is the Super Bowl?
It's a football game.
But what's so special about it?
It's like, I guess, I don't understand. I'm stereotypical female. I don't understand football.
Okay.
It's, well, I mean, not stereotypical Southern female. A lot of Southern female girls, like, let's say like a little above redneck, they are into football, and so
like a redneck, better than a redneck.
Yeah,
better than those filthy
So
rednecks.
I'm not in any of those categories. I'm a stereotypical female and don't know shit about football. But like, these two teams that have been playing all year, they finally like worked their way up, and they're like the top two teams in the country, and they play each other.
Oh, okay, right. So it's like the playoffs then.
Yeah, it's like the Final Four with basketball.
Okay, yeah, right. I get it. Yeah, we don't. I mean, the only like really we just, you know, we have that over here. It's just called the playoffs. Like,
speaking of continue. I have a story about.
No, that was it. It was a completely, utterly dull and boring point.
Speaking of basketball, I watched this. Bill Maher has a documentary series on HBO called Vice, and it's really good. It's just a bunch of different topics around the world about different things, and they covered the time when Dennis Rodman went to North Korea and like hung out with Kim Jong-un, and so basically this one guy was part of this he pretended to be, like, part of this basketball team that were with the Harlem Globetrotters. They were going to go play for some North Koreans, and Dennis Rodman was sitting in the audience, and Kim Jong-un was there, and it was so strange. Like, just the way people act in North Korea, like, they're basically telling these people to act a certain way. Like, that's how they were. They acted like robots when it came to having fun. It was just so bizarre.
My sister spent a year teaching there, Greer, and I mean it's really interesting because although like I can imagine that's true, my friend Steph also taught in Japan, and apparently however bad it is in North Korea, however driven people are and how seriously they take things, apparently in Japan it's like that is just exemplified to the nth degree.
The government in Japan kind of sucks. From what I've heard. The society in Japan looks pretty fun. In some parts of Japan. Like in the biggest cities.
Yeah, I think of Tokyo and, you know, like cartoon characters with massive eyes, and it's like, yeah, nothing could be further from the truth,
Your
apparently.
Animus and your,
And your Pokemons
Yeah.
and your Digimons.
But, go watch that. It's so bizarre. Just the way, like, it's like 5 minutes before these cameras came in, they basically told these people, okay, look, these Americans are gonna come in and you're gonna act this way. They went into a computer lab, to speak with someone who works with relations or some shit, and
Right.
they had all of these North Korean people in there, and they were just, they were using well, at first it looked like they were using the computers, but then the American guy, the undercover journalist, that's basically what he was, an undercover journalist, he noticed that they weren't using the computers at all. They were just kind of sitting there, just staring at a blank screen.
So it was like
there was this one guy staring at just the Google homepage, but he wasn't doing anything.
so they had just been put there. It was all window dressing. It was just a show
They
put on.
did not look like they knew how to use a computer.
That's insane.
Like, that's basically what it was. These people don't even know how to use a computer, so they just take them, they put them in front of, it's like, okay, let's make a good show for these Americans that are gonna come in. And then, the Harlem Globetrotters did end up, playing basketball and stuff, and there were some parts that were sweet, like, kind of bridging that gap, and some genuine, kind moments from just the citizens of North Korea. It's very nice, but it's so bizarre. It's just the parts where they go in places and there are citizens there and they're obviously just doing what they're told.
It really does make me appreciate, like, however bad things are in the UK at the moment, just in terms of the kind of the lack of jobs and, how kind of dreadful our government is, like, it really does, like, it could be so much worse. Like, my life could be so much worse. Our lives could be so much worse.
Yeah.
They could be so much harder just doing the things that we take for granted. Like, even having a podcast where, we're allowed to kind of publicly, well, I say publicly, I mean to about 20 people, express our kind of opinions. But, yeah, like, being able to do that and having the facilities and the freedom to do that, it does make me feel very fucking lucky.
Like, monarchy, like, 400 years ago was, like, really shitty, right? Like, they were chopping people's heads off and shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. But that was just capital punishment. Like, that wasn't even necessarily, like... I don't know, actually, when government outside the monarchy was formed. My history is appalling. But, the monarchy used to have power, which, is obviously awful because that's like a dictatorship. But at the same time, the fact that we've even got a monarchy, I think is kind of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is just ceremonial.
Barbara Walters went over and did the first interview ever with Kate Middleton since she got pregnant.
Really?
Yeah, everyone apparently, over in your country and in this country, are taking bets on what they're going to name the baby, and everyone thinks it's going to be some form. It's somehow going to include Diana, the name.
That would be really cool, if they did that. I think that would be quite a...
I'm just holding out for, like, that 1.008% chance that they may pop out a red-haired baby and it'll look like Harry.
See, I think it would be really funny if it was black. I think that would be fucking hilarious. Prince William was just like, I didn't see anything strange going on here. Like, I think that would be hilarious. That would really make me happy.
He would be baffled. He would be befuddled.
I think he'd notice. I think he is thick as shit. I think he is as thick as... I can't remember the expression. Something about as thick as two planks or so. Anyway, he's very stupid. You can tell by
if you said that 400 years ago, you'd be beheaded.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There are still people that take it really seriously that would be too impressed with me for saying that.
Like, you can't talk about Harry looking like a fucking a fucking, I don't know what he looks like. He's not that good looking to me.
He's I know a lot
William,
of
I mean, not, did I say Harry?
You did say Harry.
I think Harry's gorgeous. William is the non-good looking one. Harry's
No, William's an ugly cunt, to be honest. Harry is alright.
William looks like Charles.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Nobody wants to be looking like...
No one looks to look like Charles.
No one wants to look like Charles, and Charles in turn looks like Prince Philip, the Queen's husband, which again, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Unfortunate looking man. He's also a massive racist.
Really?
Yeah, but it's that annoying thing of because he's Prince Philip, everyone just kind of thinks that it's like cute because he's like an old man. Oh, Philip, what's he like? Oh, what a cheeky little devil-may-care prince you are. And it's like, no, you're massive racist, Prince Philip.
Yeah.
Say appalling things in public regularly. That's not acceptable.
I was watching a live stream with some comedian commentators when the royal wedding happened, and Camilla came out, and like half the people started yelling, "Homewrecker! Homewrecker!"
Oh, that's horrible. Slut shaming.
It's pretty true, though.
Yeah,
not gonna lie, it's pretty true.
I'm not gonna lie. She's ugly as sin as well. But that's the thing as well. The monarchy have not been blessed with good looks. That's
so messed up, though, that, like, if you look at Charles, when he got married to Diana, like, oh, god damn.
Yeah,
but then,
he was, like her age.
Like, that's the best you're gonna get, dude. And then he's an idiot and leaves her for fucking Camilla, who looks like fucking, she just rolled out of bed and
I mean, to be fair, I just said that she was hit by the ugly stick.
but basically, yeah, she got hit by the ugly train.
She certainly did. She got up one morning, she went to have a shower, and then, too late, the ugly train.
Why would you leave Diana for her?
I think, again, I don't know a great deal about the kind of ins and outs of the royal family. Like, I'm not a fanatic the way some people are, but I gather that he genuinely had always loved Camilla, like there had always been something there, they'd known each other for years and years and years, and like...
My mom goes into it, like, very extensively, like, she's like, it was a ploy, you know, they didn't like Diana at all.
I don't know, they didn't like Diana, they didn't approve of Diana, which is why we all love her.
Yeah.
We like Diana because she was like the black sheep.
Yeah. I kind of look at Harry like that, to be honest.
Yeah,
he's like showing his butt and like going to Vegas, showing his butt and going to, you know, all this weird, like going to India and hanging out with tigers and shit, and
see that's
hanging
really,
out with African children, and
like that's great. Although I do kind of think like a lot of that stuff might be kind of for show, like, and the only reason I think that, like, I don't think he's a bad guy. I have heard of him doing lots of things.
Well, obviously the Vegas thing was not, you know, that was something that happened. I wish it would happen more, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the Vegas thing is fucking hilarious. I mean, more what I'm thinking about is, like, a few years ago, he went to a fancy dress party dressed as Hitler.
God damn.
Yeah, which is a bit much, I think, you know? But at the same time, like, to be fair, he's just a young lad, and actually the fact that he is fallible and he does make mistakes is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. I think it's fucking awesome that he showed his ass. I haven't got a problem with that. It was a nice...
Royal family talk, yay.
Yay.
They interest me so much. I'm so sorry.
That's alright, I understand. I think as an American, I can forgive it entirely, because it just must seem like such an odd concept from your perspective. What I was going to ask was that apparently there's been this N-word controversy with one of your...
With Paula Deen is my fucking queen, by the way. I fucking love her. I live an hour away from where she lives, and she's, like, George's grandmother. Like, that's basically her. And, she has admitted to saying the N-word, which I am not surprised about, because she grew up she's around, I want to say she's, like, in between my mom's age and my dad's age. So she grew up in the fucking 60s, I want to say, when the Civil Rights Movement was happening. Of course she said the fucking N-word before, because she grew up in the... Even my mom, who, I mean, if you don't know my mother, she is one of the most liberal people in our small-ass Georgia town.
Well, quite well.
She has admitted, when she was a teenager, she said the N-word all the time because Southern society back then was fucked up, and they're like, yeah, it's totally cool to say that.
Yeah, but I think you're totally right. I think there is a big difference between having said something in the past because that was what people did. I mean, I still think, it's not okay that people were saying it back then. But if you didn't know any better, if you genuinely didn't know any better, and you don't say it now, I think the fact that she's being ostracized because she acknowledged that something genuinely happened and there was an attitude that really existed. I think. That's appalling. Because racism did exist. There's no point sweeping it under the rug.
Okay, yeah, she was born in 47. So, I mean, even my parents who grew up in that time, they still have trouble not saying that word.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's still... It's not in the... They're not racist, that's what I'm trying to say. But
no,
it's still... in their vocabulary because they grew up saying that word. It's like, I want to compare it to this generation and the internet and the word faggot.
Yeah.
People can't stop saying that. Like, 12-year-old boys, it is a habit. It takes like 10 years for them to kick that habit of not saying that word anymore.
See, it's funny, like, in theory, I totally agree with you. I mean, me and my friends are appalling when we get together, really offensive, just because we think it's funny. Nothing to do with anything we genuinely may or may not feel. But, because we're not bigots. But at the same time, I think unless it is that whole check your privilege thing, unless you're a member of that minority group, do you have the right to say, oh, it's just a habit, I don't mean it.
Yeah.
Maybe until you're a member of that minority group, you can't understand how much suffering those words can cause.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? Like, it's a really difficult one, because my instinct is to be like, well, it's all about intent, and, I don't mean it, but I know how offended I get when I hear people just being sexist or being homophobic, obviously because I'm bisexual, so there's an element of like, I take that personally, and it's like I know that people might not mean it, that they might not really think that way, but in those instances it really hurts me.
Mm-hmm. Like, so I cannot give less of shit if Paula Deen doesn't like Obama. Like that, I could not care less, because I still like her personality. I think she's extremely likable, and I like her fucking cooking show, and I like her food. And that's what I'm gonna concentrate on, because
for the last like 5 minutes what she does, and you're like, yeah, and she's fucking awesome. She's George's grandmother.
She's really awesome. She really is. I love her.
But like,
I don't even care. Like,
no. I mean, what's this whole her not liking Obama thing? I mean,
I think she said once something about somebody had reported that she had made an offensive N-word joke about Obama, or some offhand comment, or something about the oil spill, when that's still a thing. So,
did she really say this N-word comment regarding Obama?
I don't know. I have no idea. The only thing she has said, so far, is that she has said the N-word before, which I am not surprised.
You know what I think? I think that, like, there are celebrities that I really like. Just instinctively, I really like them, and they really kind of, they speak to me for whatever reason. And I'm willing to forgive, like, them to, like, the nth degree. But I know that there are, like, people like Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian, they get reported to have done one thing, and I'm like, oh, those fucking scumbags, those wastes of space. And, like, I definitely think if you just inherently like someone, it is easier to forgive them no matter what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I really don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know enough about Paula Deen, and I don't know. And again, that's the thing, isn't it? Nobody really knows it because it's just what's being reported on, and that is usually, exaggerated and, misquoted. And yeah, I mean, so is she having her show taken away from her?
Yeah. And she apologized. That's the thing.
Yeah, that seems a bit strong.
I mean, most people who say offensive shit don't apologize, but she came out like the next day and apologized.
Yeah, and most people who, I mean, yeah, I know, like, celebrities, they do sort of these phony kind of apologies that their publicists have written for them. But at the same time, I do think, from what I gather, she's a much older woman. So like you say, there is that thing of, she does just come from a different generation. It is a habit.
I mean, like, I've met people who are her age who have kicked that habit and, aren't like that. But there's still people who are. Like, my grandmother was like that, and, my cousins would make fun of her all the time for it, and it was really funny. Like, she thought every black person was out to get her and was on crack and, like, stuff like that. Because she was fucking, by the time she died, she was, like, 92 years old or something. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, my granddad is a bit of an old sexist. My uncle, beep, was homophobic. But, yeah, and that's just a generational thing.
I mean, like, my grandmother got upset. This is so funny. It's not really funny, but it's funny to my family. Like, she got upset. This is, like, years ago. But she called my dad and was super upset because they started letting black people in her church.
Oh,
she was livid. And at first, I'm thinking, like, well, were black people not allowed in her church before?
Yeah. How long ago are we talking here, Greer?
Like, when she was still alive, like, sometime in, like, early 2000s or something.
Jesus, and they only just started letting black people in then.
It was, like, she lived in, like, a really small suburb of South Carolina.
Oh,
so it was still, like, extremely southern, so I'm not sure if they didn't let black people in before, but to me, it was so funny that it was something she would get so angry over.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like your grandmother, I'm sure she was perfectly harmless.
Yeah.
It was just being seriously misguided and coming from, a time and a place that didn't really allow for understanding of other people and other cultures. And I mean, I think as well with the Paula Deen thing, getting back to that, I do think taking away her career at her age is a really cunty thing to do.
Technically, it's not her career. Her TV show is, like, probably only, like, 20% of her income. Because she owns, like, a bunch of restaurants, has a bunch of cookbooks, has, like, cooking lines out the ass. Like, she has so much money.
Can I ask, why did she admit to this in the first place? Like, I mean,
somebody asked her and she said, yeah, it's something I've done, and people are upset about it for...
See, I
think it's silly to get upset about. That's the thing. Like,
yeah, totally. It sounds like she's being scapegoated.
Asking, have you ever said the N-word to a woman who was born in the late 40s in the South is, like, and expecting no as the answer is kind of silly, in my opinion. Growing up in the South, that's a silly thing to ask, I think.
Yeah, and it's there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that this stuff happened. I think that's my biggest problem with the way she's been kind of hounded for this, is that, this stuff did happen. There isn't any point in pretending it didn't. What good will that do? If anything, it's detrimental to pretend that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because it means that we can't then, as a society, learn from it.
I do think it's silly she wants her show back because she has so much money doing 10 other things. It's ridiculous.
Probably just really enjoys it.
Yeah.
I can imagine if you have a lot of money like that, there probably are just some things that you do.
She makes her cooking show in her house.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
She does it in her house.
Oh, by the way, Greer, I know you didn't want to talk about this because you think it was old news, but I'm going to ask you just for your, because I know a lot of people have been talking about their reactions to both the Red Wedding, Game of Thrones, and the last episode. So I just want to hear your kind of
I think
10,
like
10, 10 words or less reactions to both of those last two
10 words or less.
episodes.
No, I think like 2 hours after that Red Wedding, like I was contemplating whether I should keep watching that show.
That's what I've heard. I mean, I don't know. I only know the
For like 2 hours, I'm like, I'm never gonna watch this show again. I'm never watching this show again.
I mean, everyone I know, even people that don't watch TV particularly, that aren't kind of nerds in quite the same fashion that we are, said that that was one of the most harrowing pieces of television and experiences of their lives.
I honestly wished, and I don't normally say this about myself, I'm super modest. I wish I had, I wish I would have had someone to film me, because I think my reaction would have gone viral and ended up on Conan O'Brien.
Well, that's your goal ultimately.
My parents like told me I needed to be in a mental institution.
They don't mince their words, do they?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the photo you posted, but I've had reactions like that to things.
That was real tears. I don't know why I posted that.
I can believe. I mean, when died in Supernatural, I was literally shaking the computer and no.
You finished Supernatural, correct?
Have now finished Supernatural. Hey!
Is that are you finished or are you caught up? Is that an ongoing series?
Yeah, I'm caught up. I will never be finished with Supernatural.
Yeah, I honestly have had no idea if that was an ongoing series or not.
But yeah, no, I mean it's been extraordinarily popular. I mean, what I really like about Supernatural is that because it isn't on a massive network, as far as I can,
it's on the CW over here, which is
that's less well known than some of the others. Like,
yeah, kind of. I mean, they had hits like One Tree Hill and Gossip Girl and stuff like that. I'm not sure what they show now, but I mean, in July, the only reason I'm going to be watching is because that's where they're going to have Whose Line Is It Anyway back on, so.
Oh, sweet. Oh, fuck. I totally forgot about Whose Line. That is exciting.
That's coming back in, 3 weeks.
Do you know that originated in England?
Yes, I know. I love the England episodes. Or the English episodes. I love those.
Oh, I love the England episodes.
The England episodes.
They're fucking great. My favourites,
I'm not as familiar with it as I am with the American series, because I watch the American series so much. I still watch it to this day. I'm fucking addicted to...
There's a really, really good comedian that was on the British series called Paul Merton, who you should look up. And he's a great improviser and, yeah, fantastically funny bloke. He was on something called Have I Got News For You, which I'm sure all my English listeners will know. But yeah, so I'm finished with Supernatural. Very fucking excited about Whose Line.
I don't know why this reminded me of that, but John Oliver has been hosting The Daily Show. Who's that? Yeah, that British guy that's on The Daily Show?
He's fucking funny. How's that been going?
I have not really watched... I've been watching a lot more Colbert lately for some reason, but I guess it's just because I just happen to catch it more often than I do The Daily Show for, no reason.
I mean, I think The Daily Show, and again, maybe it's a humour divide in terms of the sort of two countries, but I find The Daily Show quite hit and miss.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that a lot with Colbert, because there are a lot of people, because Jon Stewart's very genuine, but on the other side with Colbert, he's playing a character all the time.
See, I find Jon Stewart, I suppose he's genuine in the sense that is who he is, but I suppose the one thing that always kind of puts me off about Jon Stewart is that he seems a little bit, I don't know, and again, it is just an American thing. I think if we tried to do something like The Daily Show over here, having, this kind of really bombastic, attractive host, who is very kind of opinionated, and I think over here we're much better at being like, and we're more self-deprecating, we're less comfortable with ourselves, and I think I find him a bit up his own arse.
See, I like that. I don't know why I like that.
Yeah, and again, it's probably a cultural thing. And also, I sometimes find him with guests. Like, I mean, he's had Matt and Trey from South Park on before, who I love. But I remember him saying when the Book of Mormon came out, he said this to their faces, "It is so good, it makes me angry." And I just thought, you little kiss ass, Jon Stewart. Fuck.
I think, like, I don't, yeah, I mean, he can be like that, and I like that. I don't know, like, I mean, because you don't get that a lot, I think, with hosts. You know, they're usually, I don't think he was being a kiss ass. I think he was basically trying to make a joke about how good it was, because everybody knows how good it is.
Yes,
but I mean, he's I think there are way more talk show hosts who are, like, way more kiss ass-ish, like Jay Leno and, you know, occasionally David Letterman. David Letterman doesn't do that much anymore because he's old and doesn't give a fuck anymore, but
I quite like David Letterman. I think David Letterman, there is something kind of sort of honest
David
about
Letterman
him.
is old and does not give a fuck anymore. Like,
yeah, exactly. Well, it's like how, like, I remember he's had Ricky Gervais on about 21 times or something ridiculous like that, but he had Ricky Gervais on once, and this was when Ricky Gervais was still fat and really slobby, and he came on, like, and Letterman was like, "Oh, you're all set. You've got your sweater, you've got your jeans, you've got your crappy sneakers, you're all set, you're good to go." And, like, there was another time when, like, I think Letterman was like to Gervais, like, "Oh, I've got a bone to pick with you." And, like, Gervais was like, "Well, I've got a bone to pick with you." And Letterman just was like, "No, you have no beef with me." And he was just like, "Yeah, all right, fair enough."
Like, Letterman will do this thing where he's like, he'll start to introduce a guest, but then, like, he'll go into, like, this 2-minute story about, like, nothing, and then he'll introduce the guest.
He's old. He's like Grandpa from The Simpsons.
He doesn't care anymore, and it's lovely. It's not like Jay Leno, who I hate. I don't like Jay Leno.
Jay Leno is...
Jay Leno's such a kiss ass, and I don't like him that much. I'm sure he's a lovely person. I'm sure...
I don't think he is a lovely person. I think he's a big homophobe, to be honest.
I don't know. I've heard he's kind of a nice guy, but, I mean, I don't know. I always have to appreciate a guy who has that many cars. Like, holy crap, he has way too many fucking cars. Like, I wouldn't know what to do with all those fucking cars he has. I don't understand car collecting, and it fascinates me.
A fascinating character trait and something that should be applauded that I love. I mean, the only thing I kind of liked him in was The Simpsons. He was very funny in The Simpsons. It was a good kind of guest spot, and he did it very well. And
the only bit he does that I like is Monday nights he does headlines, which is people send him, like, typos in headlines or, like, really shitty want ads, and it's so funny. Like, the ones he gets are so fucking funny. It's like ones that you don't see on the internet.
There's a really funny bit that I think it might be Conan O'Brien. I think he might have done this a couple of times. It's celebrities reading out tweets about themselves.
Jimmy Kimmel does that, yeah.
I really like Jimmy Kimmel. He's a very...
Yeah, I've learned to like him more. He does really funny bits.
I really don't like Jimmy Fallon.
I think Jimmy Fallon's... He did a whole week of Justin Timberlake being on the entire week, and that was, like, the best thing ever.
Yeah, I like Justin Timberlake. He seems like a cool guy. He did some fun,
I'm in the minority that actually thinks Jimmy Fallon's pretty great, and I think he has a lot of good bits on his show, and I love The Roots. I love them. That's the band he has on, and it's like Questlove and all these other, like, really talented musicians, and they're really great. Like, they're so fucking talented.
The old Jonathan Ross show, it had this brilliant in-house band. I don't know whether they're still on Jonathan Ross, because I haven't seen it in ages, but his old house band were 4 puffs and a piano, and it was just this 3 gay guys and a piano.
I think I've seen that. Jonathan Ross?
Yeah, Jonathan Ross.
Yeah, I think I've seen that. I tell you what talk show I love that's over there. Well, I do love Graham Norton, but I also love, God, what's his name? Not Jonathan Ross, but, it's, Justin Lee Collins. That's who I like a lot. And
Justin Lee Collins. Oh, I could tell you a few things about Justin Lee
You
Collins.
could.
He's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's really funny.
And he's got that Stephen Merchant Bristolian bent, which I like. But he has just been done. I say just, I mean it's maybe more like October. He's just been done, and his career has essentially been destroyed because he is apparently like emotionally torturing his girlfriend.
What the fuck?
Yeah, apparently, and like he seems like such a like lovely sort of jolly chap, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But apparently he used to say to her, like, I'm gonna have to get this right now. It was something like, when you're with me, you don't look at any fucking man, you look at the fucking ground, and like dark shit like that, you know. Apparently he was a complete nut bar.
That sucks because he's really funny.
It's crazy, isn't it? And it's funny that, like, I mentioned Alan Carr, because him and Alan Carr used to present the Friday Night Project, which is a really, really funny, like, talk show with, like, it was kind of like a cross between, like, SNL and a talk show. So they had, like, bits and stuff, and they could come on and do, like, sketches and stuff. And, like, yeah, it was an awesome series. And then Justin Lee Collins went and did Rock of Ages.
Oh, really?
And then I think it was around that time that he was kind of charged for doing all this.
How did that come out? Like, did the girlfriend come out and say, yeah?
Yeah, the girlfriend, I think the girlfriend filed a police report. And yeah, so he was fired from Rock of Ages. He had to do community service. Like,
God.
Yeah, so his like career is in tatters now. He's like public enemy number one.
That sucks.
It really does suck. It's incredibly disappointing. I mean, the thing is, like, obviously nobody can know what really went on because he still insists that he didn't do it. So, you know, it's one of those things, like, I'm always really wary of, like, judging celebrities too harshly, just purely because, you know, I don't know them, I don't know what they did and didn't do, you know, I wasn't there. But if he did do it, he's a fucking arsehole.
Which sucks because he's super funny.
He's so funny, and he's such, like, I used to find him really attractive. I think it's the confidence thing, and I like a big bloke. I'm not averse to a big bloke. But, what I did want to talk about, actually, and we sort of touched upon this briefly, before we...
I want to talk about talk shows more, but okay.
Oh, no.
I have to talk about my addiction to Craig Ferguson.
I was thinking about Craig Ferguson today, and I thought, like, I'll have to tell Greer this because she'll think it's really cool. You know, he was the voice of Owl in the new Winnie the Pooh movie.
Yeah.
And he was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, that's why I want to see fucking Winnie the Pooh. I haven't even seen it. I know he's in How to Train Your Dragon, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's in How to Train Your Dragon, and he has another. He's in Brave too. So basically, like, any animated movie with like a Scottish background is gonna have Craig Ferguson in it.
I mean, like, honestly, like, you know, it's just really cool.
He's typecast, but it's a perfect typecast, to be honest.
Yeah. And I just love the fact that this, like, big British star is now doing really well in America. Like, that's just so cool.
Is he really big over there?
Yeah, well, he's been really big for years and years and years over here. So the fact that
the only way he got big over here was when he did the Drew Carey show.
What's the Drew Carey show?
It was Drew Carey had a sitcom, and it's really funny. I love the Drew Carey show.
Okay.
But he was a recurring character. He was like a main character on the Drew Carey show. He played Drew Carey's boss.
Cool.
He was so fucking funny.
Did he do the accent?
Huh?
Did he do it in the Scottish accent?
Yeah.
I'll have to watch that.
That's basically, like, Drew Carey basically made him famous in America.
Talking of famous American comedians, it's really funny. Like, you know, Doug did The Master of Disguise recently, or the NC.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought that, you know, that was one of those bad films that is so bad when you're watching it, you feel a little bit dirty.
Dana Carvey. I can't even, like, deal with the fact that Dana Carvey was in that movie.
What I was going to say was that I didn't know Dana Carvey all, apart from this movie that I only had heard of because it was so... how bad it was gave it a lot of notoriety. And then I saw Wayne's World about a week ago at the cinema with my friends.
For the first time?
The first time.
What is wrong with you?
It was so absurd, isn't it? Because it's the kind of thing that I would have loved in theory, but I just never got round to see
I
it.
love Wayne's World, and it sucks that Dana Carvey's in that fucking Masters Guys movie. He was in Wayne's World, and he was in fucking Spinal Tap, and it sucks.
No, I mean, he was, like, I didn't know, I kind of went into Wayne's World, like, with a little bit of kind of trepidation, because I thought, well, am I going to be able to get through Dana Carvey?
Wayne's World is one of the greatest movies ever made.
First of all, it is an unbelievably funny film. One of the funniest, one of the sweetest films I've ever seen. But Dana Carvey, as Garth, is fucking adorable.
Oh, yeah.
He's so cute. That Foxy Lady dance, honestly, if somebody, Film Brain, did that to me, I would be in their trousers so fast it would make your head spin.
That's probably one of my favorite comedies. I just really like that movie a lot.
And like, apparently his TV series, which, okay, it didn't do too well.
Yeah.
Apparently the Dana Carvey show was really funny, and it started off, I think, Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert's careers. I think that was, like, one of the first things that they both did. So the guy is obviously really respected. Apparently he was in SNL for years, and...
I think it was, for Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert, I think it was a combination of, like, that and The Daily Show, because they were both regulars on The Daily Show as well.
It just seems so bizarre to me that he would then go and make
Master of Disguise.
Just something as, like, misjudged and boring and, you know, just cheap, gross. I don't get it.
Yeah.
What annoys me about it is that, like, on the surface, just in that it's a big kind of spy thriller, and it's got the sort of family-friendly jokes as well as the kind of more raunchy stuff. And it's like, it seems like he was trying to emulate Austin Powers' success, but just in the most, like, obvious way, and you would just think that he would be cleverer than that.
Yeah. Me and my mom were actually talking about shitty Robin Williams movies last night, because she was watching a movie of his. I forget what it was called. It was called, shit.
It was called Shit. Yeah, that's that.
No, it was called, God damn, I can't fucking think of it.
I wanted to have recently.
But it was like it's like thriller or something. It was a drama. And, we were talking about, and it's a movie he's really good in, and we were talking about shitty Robin Williams movies, and I'm like, yeah, like that, it's amazing he can be in movies like this, and like, you know, the Birdcage, and, you know,
yeah, I love Birdcage.
Stuff like that, and then he can be in really shitty movies like Jack. And I'm like, that's a really shitty movie. And my mom's like, yeah. And I'm like, did you know that Francis Ford Coppola directed that? And she's like, you're fucking kidding me.
Nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, when Doug said that in his review, I've never been more genuinely shocked in my life.
Yeah.
Just, it's just so weird.
It's pretty fucked
It's
up.
just so weird that Francis Ford Coppola, I just can't get my head around that. But I really, really want to have a sentimental Robin Williams fest. Like, I think that would be a great thing for, like, an independent cinema to have, and for, like, everyone to come and, like, just completely rip them to shreds.
There's a movie he did that I actually really personally like. He did this movie called World's Greatest Dad.
I've heard that's a really, really good film. And
it's really, like, mean, but it's very good to me, I think. I really like it. It's basically, his son is really shitty, and, the son then, dies. And so then he has to, it's not a spoiler, it happens in, like, the first 20 minutes, but, his son dies, doing something really dumb, and his son was, like, really shitty, like, hated him, and, like, was just an overall, like, horrible person, and, and the way he dies is super, I'm not gonna spoil that, but it's, like, really humiliating, and so he passes it off as it was a suicide, and made him seem like he was super troubled, and, you know, he did all these bad things because he was troubled, and he was actually, like, a super good kid, so he could, like, keep up his kind of reputation almost, and and it's really funny. Just it's really dark. It's a dark comedy. If you like dark comedies, like this is one of the best dark comedies ever.
It's a really, really interesting idea, and yeah, just a much more interesting idea than what Robin Williams would usually pick. And it's like 1 hour photo, and like, you know, he is capable of doing this stuff. I mean, I'm
trying to say like why he covers it up. It's basically like Robin Williams' character is like such a good person that he not only wants to like kind of keep up the fact that he was a good father and he tried his best and he wanted to seem like he did do his best, but he's also such a good person where he's like, you know, I can't, you know, he's dead now and I can't pass off the fact that he was really shitty. You know, it would be better of me to, you know, do a good thing and make him seem like he was actually like a really good person and did things. And it does, like, you know, all the people in his high school who thought he was like, you know, like a jerk, you know, they automatically turn around and be like, yeah, he was like so like, you know, basically how people react to death in high school. And it's actually extremely accurate, and it's, you know, it's really great.
It's that thing of, like, when people die, like, and it's true just in general, but in high school as well, people are like, yeah, I feel like I really knew them, and, you know, I feel like we had this connection, they were obviously so troubled, and it's like, it's bullshit. Like, you can say that you didn't like them, just because they're dead, you can still say that you didn't like them. So, I mean, I just think the idea of that film, I'd be so interested to see it, because, like, it's a really original idea, but there are obviously so many ideas that you can, you know...
And also, Bobcat Goldthwait directed it, and he has directed things like, you know, he directed The Man Show and Crank Yankers, and he actually directed Jimmy Kimmel's Talk Show for a few years, for about 3 or 4 years.
I heard Bobcat Goldthwait. The only thing I kind of know him from is he was in that Hercules Disney film. He seems like he'd be really fucking annoying, Bobcat Goldthwait.
Well, he's made some really good stuff.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I'd be very fucking interested to see World's Greatest Dad. I think that sounds really, really good. I mean, I think Robin Williams is a bit like Jim Carrey. I think it's either that he wants to make money or that he just has really, really bad judgment.
I love Jim Carrey, but I also admit he's made like really shitty movies. Yeah, but I do like Jim Carrey. Like, Jim Carrey was in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Love that film.
But he's also been in, like, Mr. Popper's Penguins and, you know, shit like that.
It all, doesn't it? But I mean, I think, I think they need directors that aren't afraid to tell them to rein it in. You know, just because you're Jim Carrey or just because you're Robin Williams, it doesn't mean you're above being told to rein it in. And I think when they do that, both of them, particularly Jim Carrey, they're fantastic. Yeah. I mean, Jim Carrey, I really want to see in a film that I think he made years and years ago called Man on the Moon, about a comedian called Andy Kaufman, who...
I know about Andy Kaufman, I don't know about the movie.
I see Andy Kaufman, I knew very little about until recently, but a friend of mine has just really got into him. I mean... He apparently did, like, the first episode of SNL and was just considered kind of too dark. And people didn't really... It took people a while to get their heads around him and kind of know what he was about. Because he wouldn't necessarily, from what I've heard, make jokes, per se. It would more just be... It would be laughing at his kind of persona and the situations he found himself in. And I would be really, really interested to see Man on the Moon. And interested to see what Jim Carrey does with that part.
Am I the only one, by the way, who doesn't really like Dumb and Dumber that much?
I haven't seen Dumb and Dumber.
I don't really like it that much. Everyone says it's brilliant, but I'm like, it's not that fucking good, you guys.
But, well, it's like I love Anchorman. I love Wayne's World now. I love, you know, Bill and Ted. I mean...
Oh, you're gonna love seeing Anchorman too. Plug.
Oh, I'm so excited about Anchorman 2. Oh, actually, not talking of which at all, on an entirely different note, how fucking good is Brad Jones's new animated series?
I've only seen a few episodes of it, to be honest.
What did you think of it?
I really like it.
I just think, like, it's insanely good. Like, I can't believe that guy with the glasses, or, I mean, the cinema snob or whatever. Like, I can't believe, like, we've gotten to the point now, like, the internet is so good that we're producing, like producing an animated show. That has got to be fucking hard.
I've been a fan of Curbifers forever, so I'm just always, I pretty much like everything he does, so.
I don't know who that is.
Curbifer, he's on Team 4-Star, and it's like, that's an entirely different fandom. I won't even get into it.
The only member of Team 4-Star I know is Lawrence
Moscow?
Masco X, yeah, who I think knows. I feel like he must know Matthew because he's English. But, yeah.
Well, you English people know each other.
You know each other, yeah. We're all like that. Trying to think of, I know what I was going to touch on before we carried on talking about the talk shows. This embarrassing incident that happened to me at West End Live today. For those of you that don't know, West End Live is a event in London that happens every year where all the biggest West End shows, or I think all the West End shows, in fact, they each do a performance in Trafalgar Square, and it's a free event. And I, being a massive fangirl, I obviously went to this, and it's always been my experience as a fan and as a member of fandoms is like, whether I'm waiting at the stage door for autographs, whether I'm on that guy with the glasses forums or whatever, I'm going to make friends, I'm going to add people on Facebook and they're going to become part of my big fandom family. And I really like that about fandoms. I like the bonds that are formed. So I went to West End Live. I got chatting to this girl, or she actually started chatting to me. I do want to clarify that. She started chatting to me. And I said to her, in what I just thought was a totally ordinary run-of-the-mill way, I'll add you on Facebook. Started getting my phone out, and the look she gave me was just extraordinary. She kind of looked at me, looked at the floor, and then started muttering, oh, well, I don't really, we've only just met. And I mean, she seemed mortified, and I, of course, then was mortified. I mean, like, it was fist-clenchingly embarrassing, and the problem was that neither of us were going anywhere. So we had to stand there in that crowd making awkward small talk for the rest of that event after she had essentially just rejected me. And I just thought, is that... And I later found out, she's a proper fangirl. She writes Klain fan fiction. So, I mean, is it just me? Is that a weird thing for me to have done?
I think it's... See, like, that's not something I've encountered because everybody, like, really in America is like, yeah, I'll just add you on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. And then if, like, they don't end up talking to each other, liking each other, it's unfriend, or, they stay on the friends list forever, and it doesn't really matter. But, I have encountered people who are, like, really, who only use Facebook for family and stuff like that. Maybe you should have asked her for her Tumblr instead? I don't know. But
I guess I tried asking her, when she told me she did fanfiction, I tried asking for her DA, but she apparently didn't have one. Although, for all I know, she could have had, and she could have just been cock-blocking me again.
Some people are, like, really about their privacy and,
Yeah, some people, I mean, I suppose some people are, but I was surprised. It is the first time I've ever encountered that in a fandom. I mean, outside of a fandom, maybe I wouldn't think it was so weird, but, like, I suppose I expected her to be somebody who had a big, huge group of mates on the internet that were exclusive to the internet. Like, like my friendship with almost everyone in That Guy with the Glasses fandom, It's a great way of making friends, but... I mean, yeah, I suppose she could have just used it for friends and family. I'm hoping it wasn't just because she thought I was a stalker.
That's probably not it. She probably just... I mean, again, I've known people who just use Facebook for friends and family and stuff like that, so...
Well, let's get the word out then, though. Fans of our show, post on our Facebook page and tell us whether you would add somebody you had just met on Facebook.
Yeah, which I do that all the time, so...
Yeah, so, like you say, I leave them on there, I don't take them off, I don't do big Facebook polls.
I do people, like, if I see somebody make a really intelligent and nice post somewhere on
then
Facebook,
you get rid of them immediately.
I'll send them a friend request if it's something that
Yeah, exactly. Same here.
It's
Same here.
weird. Maybe I'm just weird. I don't know.
Well, no, I'm exactly the same. I remember a few years ago, I met a girl through her. She wrote really, really brilliant Avenue Q fan fiction, and I messaged her and was like, "Oh, have you got a Facebook?" And we're like best friends now. We're so close.
I am still distracted by the fact that Avenue Q has fanfiction.
Yeah, that's weird. Now that I'm saying
weird.
Avenue Q was the first thing I ever wrote.
Not gonna lie, that's weird.
But I mean, once you take the puppets out of the equation, they are some very three-dimensional characters.
Did you watch Tony Awards?
No, I didn't watch the Tony Awards.
Pippin won everything, so, you know.
What won everything?
Pippin.
See, I don't know anything about Pippin.
It's about the circus? I have no idea.
It's the bloke who wrote, like Wicked and a bunch of other stuff, isn't it?
Pippin won a bunch of stuff. Matilda actually won a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm so happy about that.
Yeah.
I mean, Tim Minchin, the guy that wrote Matilda, is one of the best kind of stand-up comedians out there, and you know, just like a great singer, great actor, great performer, just like an all-round awesome guy, great piano player. Like, I'm so fucking happy for him. He so deserves it. It was obviously such a like labor of love.
I wonder if because Mara Wilson said she went and saw it. I wonder if they let her in for free.
They would have had to.
You think so?
I don't know, maybe not. But it would be a bit odd.
That's just something I just thought about. Like, I wonder if like they would have given her like special seating and.
The idea of them saying to Mara fucking Wilson, like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, we've only got seats in the balcony today."
In the shit row.
Yeah, in sort of the back of the kind of far left corner. Row Z. But I don't know. I mean, I guess having said that, you know, she's got enough money. She can afford to buy a ticket herself, presumably. I don't know.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room? Which is, Kim Kardashian has succeeded with her baby plan and has now ended up on every single tabloid cover in the supermarket. Because I went to the supermarket yesterday and she was on every single magazine cover. You have succeeded in that department. She does not need the baby anymore.
No, that's it. She's done it.
She does not need Little North anymore.
No, Little North, I think Little North needs to go to a better home. One in which he doesn't have to potentially be named Northwest.
Well, it's a girl.
Oh,
it's
what?
It's a girl named North, which is, I think, is the worst part. I can see a boy being named North, like in that shitty movie, but...
Kim, you selfish bitch.
Well, it might have been Kanye, I don't know, because it is his last name.
Oh, possibly. But fucking, I mean, they should both be ashamed. They should both know better. They're both grown-ups. Don't call your baby North. You know better than that.
I just think that's funny. I was in denial for, like... I told my mom, and we were both in denial, like, this has to be a rumor. This has to not be true. Please tell me you didn't name the baby this.
You posted it on your Facebook that you and your mum were in denial, and I could just imagine you and your mum sitting there, like, rocking back and forth, like, no, they didn't call it North. No, they didn't call it North. No way. People don't do that.
What amazes me, the baby was only, I think, 4 or 5 pounds. Which is, I'm like, that's not a heavy baby. She gave early labor, which I did not know that. So I hope she's okay, I guess. I can't wish ill will upon a pregnant or a woman that has just given birth. Like, that is something that is not, that is in my moral code. I don't feel good making fun of her or, like, giving death threats to her baby, which is absurd, you know.
I love the fact that you have to clarify that you
That's
don't feel...
my moral code. I don't want to wish ill will upon her because I don't like her as a person.
It's just great that you have to clarify that you don't want to wish death threats on her child.
Yeah.
I love that you...
No, because that's such a common thing on the internet, and I don't want to...
No. I suppose so. It shouldn't be.
Even, like, remember, Adele gave birth, and Adele hasn't done a thing. Like, name one bad thing Adele has done.
Well, yeah, exactly. She's universally adored.
Like, even when she gave birth, people were sending her baby death threats, and she had to delete her Twitter.
See, that's mad.
Which Adele hasn't done. She's not a drug addict. She's not a whore. She's not, like, any of these things.
The thing is, like, Kim Kardashian, it doesn't bother me that she's, like, not the only thing about her that bothers me is that she is famous for being famous, and I just think when there are people starving in the world, the fact that she is making millions and millions of dollars a year, presumably, by being a horrible, manipulative human being.
The thing that bothers me is, like, I can make a pass on, like, reality stars that make tons of, like, the Real Housewives and Paris Hilton, but they've actually, like, done things. Like,
See,
I'm pretty sure Paris Hilton has written a book, which is fucking amazes me. And, like, she's had a music career that lasted 2 minutes. You know, the Real Housewives are actually, like, business women. Like, they go out and, like, make things and do things. Kim Kardashian hasn't done any of these, like, stereotypical reality star things that eventually reality stars drift into, like an acting career or a music career or writing a book. She hasn't done anything except have sex with some dude that I can't remember his name and date Kanye West, and that's about it.
My thing is, Greer, is that you're like, yeah, superficially they've all had, you know, other careers, but I mean, Paris Hilton being in 2 terrible films and being terrible in them, you know, releasing a couple of songs in which she's auto-tuned to within an inch of her.
She's done more than Kim Kardashian has.
I agree, but she is still essentially just a reality star. She's trying to justify herself, but she's doing these things because these opportunities have been afforded to her, but she's not doing them well. So I don't have any more respect for her than Kim Kardashian. Like, I mean, I don't know about the Real Housewives. I mean, maybe they are good at what they do and they work hard and they've kind of earned their right to exist. But, yeah, Paris Hilton, I can't respect.
I mean, she had that reality show, A Simple Life. Was it called A Simple Life? That she did with Nicole Richie? That I actually thought was super funny because they were so...
Yeah, sure.
It was funny because they were dumb. Like...
Yeah, exactly. And, like, I can't imagine... I can't imagine either of them would last for 5 minutes in the real...
They were really unintentionally funny, even though I do like Nicole Richie better. Like, she's actually smart.
They probably didn't take themselves too seriously, which I guess is kind of... I think I can actually...
You take 2 people who are obviously not going to do well in, like, a country redneck family. You know, you take the daughter of, you know, the Hilton hotel chain, basically an heiress. You take her and you take the daughter of Lionel Richie and you put them together and see how they, you know, react to things.
You know you're gonna have an entertaining piece of television.
Like, what's better than that?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, the only thing that could top that now, it's like, yeah, that was probably seen outrageous in the early 2000s. Now it's Honey Boo Boo.
Which at least... And I have to say this about Honey Boo Boo, like, I would much rather hang out with them than hang out with the Kardashians, to be honest. I mean, yeah, the Kardashians go on all these lavish trips to Bora Bora and shit, but they go there with their cameras, and they never look like they're having any fun.
I totally agree with you,
At least the Honey Boo Boo family, like, they go places and have fun and do fun things and are laughing, like, all the time and are, like, spending time with each other. But the Kardashian family, like, they go on these trips, they're on their cell phones all the time, in their fake tans, and they're, like, crying, and that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all... Yeah, they just seem miserable. That life spent in front of the characters and living for their next paycheck has just made them miserable. And I think you put it really, really well. I think you were kind of defending Honey Boo Boo on Facebook a while ago, and you said that, you know, at least they're nice to each other. You know, at least you've got a family on television that, you know, yes, they might be overweight, you know, yes, they might be, you know, ill-educated, working class, but they are fucking nice to each other. And how rare is that?
Yeah.
And you're totally right. And I think a big part, actually, of the Honey Boo Boo kind of backlash, you know, I mean, apart from the fact as well that she is seriously overweight, and you know, for a girl that age, you can't really deny that that's unhealthy. But I think a lot of it is snobbery. I think a lot of the backlash is snobbery because they're not like...
It is snobbery, and maybe it's just because I've lived in the South amongst people like this. I don't know, I guess, but, I mean, I guess it's just me being numb to it. That it's just like, this is not strange to me. None of this is strange to me, because I know people that do these things. I know people who act like this. I know people who talk like this. And I guess it's just, on my part, it's just I'm numb to it. I don't understand the hate, and I don't understand why people find it weird.
I mean, I think, yeah, there are definitely places where you see... I mean, certainly in my hometown, you know, you would see people that, you know, had serious sort of... You know, they would have serious weight problems. You know, they often had children quite young, you know, sort of young single mothers. I mean, that whole stereotype. And, yeah, so, I mean, it's less weird for me as well. It's less kind of shocking for me. But I think it's that thing of, for whatever reason, we want to feel like we're better than people like that, which is just so fucking screwed up, because they're just people. You know, they might not be glamorous, they might not be particularly bright, they might... but they're people. They're people that love each other. And you know what? Why shouldn't that be celebrated? Why shouldn't that be, you know, shouted from the rooftops?
Yeah, that stuff. We got deep for a while. We should talk about nerdy stuff again.
Yeah, I'm terrible, though. I have my, like, little speeches, and then people are just like, yep. Is that over yet?
No, it's just like, yeah, I can't say anything after that, man.
I've said it all. I've put it.
Have you seen any movies? Because Man of Steel just came out, and everybody either really loves it or really fucking hates it.
I only know that people have hated on it. I haven't heard any.
It looks like a legit Superman movie. Like, that's all I'm looking for, is a movie that gives Superman respect. Not like Superman Returns, which is a bunch of bullshit.
See, Superman Returns, is that the one with Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor?
Yeah, I don't remember who played Lex Luthor. I don't... Yes, it was, now that I remember, yes.
See, it's really weird. That got really good reviews and then just disappeared into oblivion.
No, that movie was a piece of shit, to be honest. It was a piece of shit from the beginning.
Yeah, I wonder what, like... No, I think Empire, who are a really kind of respected magazine, they gave it 5 stars, which is like the highest kind of rating you can get. So I was really interested to see it, but then it just like faded into obscurity.
I mean, all I really want to see... I'm not even interested in seeing Man of Steel anymore, which is weird. Like, I'm not even interested in seeing it anymore.
It's been it's a shame, actually. It's been so fucking like hated on that I have no desire to see it now.
And I've never really given I've never given a whole lot of shits about Superman in the first place. I much prefer Marvel to DC, but,
yeah,
you know,
too.
I really want to see, you know, a movie that's been getting a lot of good things said about it is This Is the End, which is that comedy. It's basically James Franco, Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, Danny McBride, Michael Cera, and they're playing themselves.
Yeah, they're playing themselves, and it's a party at James Franco's house, and yeah, the end of the world. I mean, the only, like, I've heard it's really good. I really wanted to see it, and like, I don't mind James Franco as an actor. I just kind of mind him as a person, so that's sort of all right. But what I heard is that Emma Watson walked off because she was in a scene that was too kind of raunchy, and yet, you know,
she's in the movie.
Yeah, well, she's supposedly in the movie. She was at the premiere, but this has been widely circulated that she walks off. I mean, I don't know whether they maybe had to, like, tempt her back in with more cash or whatever, but apparently she literally walked off, as in walked off the set.
Huh.
I mean, it could all be bullshit. It could all be bullshit, but, I mean, I usually really like Emma Watson, so I'd be quite disappointed if she did that.
I like Emma Watson a lot.
Yes,
I think Mindy Kaling's in it, Aziz Ansari. Michael Cera apparently plays like a total asshole.
See, that's great because he's been so typecast as the nice guy.
Yeah. He plays like he's like you know, in the trailer, he's like slapping Mindy Kaling's ass and, you know, being super raunchy and.
That's really funny. Mindy Kaling's great. Like, she's just everything she says just cracks me up.
So, is this gonna be the movie that gets you to like James Franco?
Well, James Franco.
To be fair, you haven't seen 127 Hours yet.
No, which is supposedly wonderful. I mean, I don't really have a problem with him as an actor. I just think he seems, in real life, like such a cunt. He's just so slappable.
I'm sorry, it's just so funny. I think Emma Watson has a movie coming out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's, it's called The Bling Ring? I'm not sure what it's about. I think it's like...
It's about, like, a bunch of, like, young criminals.
Yeah, like, tracking celebrities' houses and shit.
Sounds kind of a cool idea.
Something. I'm not...
Yeah, I like Emma Watson. I mean, the only thing I've heard is, like, that she can be a bit of a diva on set, but she always seems so cool in real life. Like, I don't even think she's that great of an actress, but she's just always in interviews and stuff just come across so...
That Bling Ring movie is directed by Sofia Coppola, who's Francis Ford Coppola's daughter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, she also directed, like, and it's amazing because, like, Bill Murray is one of my favourite actors, but I've never seen Lost in Translation, and I think that might be my Saturday night movie. I think I might sit down and watch that tonight.
Mm-hmm. Also, I think this coming weekend, it's just World War Z and Monsters University, and that's about it.
University, I'm so excited about Monsters University.
I want to read World War Z before I see it.
I don't really have any desire to see, like, there have been a lot of dystopian future films coming out, like, just literally within the last month, it seems like. And
World War Z is a book, though. Like, the book has been out, I think it came out in, like, 2005 or 2006 or some shit.
Well, maybe the book's great. Like,
the book came out before, I think, all this crap started up, or around the time when it was starting, I think. So... See,
I can't, like, obviously blame the book then, but, like, I don't know, well, it's like stuff like I Am Legend. Like, you kind of go and see it and you think, oh, that's good fun and that's quite sort of interesting, but they're just so forgettable. Like, I couldn't tell you what happened in I Am Legend.
Well, but Brad Pitt's in World War Z, so...
Well, so
Monsters University is going to be pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. The marketing campaign, can I just say... Like, if you haven't explored the Monsters University website, fucking go and do that now. Stop listening to this. Turn this off.
Yeah, I haven't been to that yet, but I really want to.
This marketing campaign for Monsters, Inc. has just been, like... I mean, probably things like that have existed before, but it's still very fucking original. The Monsters University website, go and look at it now. Stop what you're doing. Because it's not just a website for the film. It's a website for... Monsters University, for the actual university, and it's not like a parody, it's not just supposed to be funny, it is fucking detailed. You could while away hours on that website. It's fascinating. It's like dipping your toe in a parallel universe. Like, you really feel like you've entered that world. It is so cool. And I mean, it's just so indicative of Pixar. It's like Golden Age Pixar, when they really, before they were making Cars 2, 3, 7, like... It was when they really gave a shit and they were doing really interesting, creative stuff.
But Brave... I still love Brave. I don't even give a fuck.
I haven't seen Brave. I can't comment.
Brave's amazing.
I'll tell you what. Do you know what? I was going to watch the first episode of Thrones. I'll do that as well. But I'm also going to watch Brave. And we can discuss it next week.
Brave's really short, so... well, it's not that short. It's... It's average kids movie length, so
just kind of like, what, hour and a half, or
like hour 20, I think.
Okay.
So.
Well, yeah, I will go and see it. I mean, I've heard mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people don't.
The people that hate it are wrong.
Yeah, quite right. Apparently, apparently the chick walks out of Wreck-It. Oh no, she didn't walk out. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Libelous. She apparently wanted to walk out of Wreck-It Ralph. I remember reading that on her Twitter. The nostalgia chick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's interesting. Like at the time, I was
Wreck-It
like,
Ralph's a good fucking movie.
I think Wreck-It Ralph's a good movie, but do you know what? Like, it's interesting. At the time when it came out, I was like, oh my fucking god, Wreck-It Ralph. And then I very quickly forgot about it. And it is really interesting. Like, I definitely think whether a movie stays with you or not, like, that's how you tell whether, like, all the early Pixar films, they all stayed with me. Like, a lot of the Disney films from my childhood, trying to think of recent films that have kind of stayed with me. But yeah, anyway, like that is the mark of a good film. Whereas Wreck-It Ralph, like, I can't help but think that it will be quite popular for a time and then will just fade into
I mean,
obscurity.
me and, like, Rose really loves Wreck-It Ralph. Like, she bought it the day it came out, and she's really into it. And I still really like it. Like, I still remember a lot of it. I guess it's because I'm more into the video game culture. I can appreciate a lot more stuff that's in it. So I got, like, a lot of the background stuff I recognized and laughed at. And
Yeah, that's true, I suppose. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I really, really enjoyed it. I was incredibly entertained, but I don't know whether I would watch it again. And I don't know why. I don't know
I guess it's because, like, there is some cliche stuff in there that I didn't like, but, you know, that's kids movie shit, you know.
you're gonna get some of that in a kids movie. Even the really great kids movies, you're gonna get some of that in. I mean, I'm interested to see Brave because apparently I think the problem that Doug and Rob had with it, I seem to remember, was that I think one of the problems anyway was that it had some very kiddie humor. But I look at things like Up.
It didn't have that much.
But I mean, even if it did, you know, the Pixar films that I love have kiddie humor. You know, even the ones that
There
I
was
think are.
like 2 kilt jokes,
But bar
and
like
that was about it. And they were like super forgettable. So I don't even remember where they were in the movie. I think there was one that was on the trailer.
you again, I'd be interested to refresh myself on their opinion of, or maybe not. Actually, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should try and go into it as blind as possible.
I just really like Brave a lot. My best friend has seen Brave twice. She saw it once in the theater, and then she saw it another time on DVD or something, and she cried both times at the end. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? I loved the movie, but I didn't cry.
I get weirdly emotional sometimes though about that. It's funny whenever you're trying to think of an example, you can't. But there have been films that I've cried in at just the most inopportune moment.
If you like your mom, then you'll probably cry at the end.
I do like my mum. I like my mum very much.
It's a good mom relationship reflecting on movies.
See, I'd say I'll see it with my mum, but my mum, like, my parents have just got, like, they won't watch animated films with me.
My parents won't either. My parents have done that for a while.
They just think on some level that they will, and it's like, well, it's like I got them to watch Up, and they were like, yeah, it was alright. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That 10 minutes at the beginning didn't make you want to, like, cut your own eyes out because they were so fucking watery. Yeah. Like, what is wrong with you? But I mean, yeah, talking of seeing things more than once, like I was going to say, I was a big Austin Powers fan when that was one of my first introductions into comedy when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
I went to see Goldmember the day it came out, and ended up going to see it subsequently 4 other times. So far. But like it just shows, doesn't it, that like I was only like 15 then. Like I've clearly always been a nerd. I've clearly always been a fanatic. Like that's not a new thing for me.
Mm-hmm. That's what we should do when you come over here, because I have all 3 Austin Powers movies on one DVD.
We should have.
That was a Walmart deal.
That's awesome. By the way, have you checked out the extras on the Goldmember DVD?
No, because again, I don't have the actual like DVD. I have all 3 movies.
They've got these weirdly great extras, like going into like the special effects, the
Really?
casting, like yeah, but it just seems odd for a fucking Austin Powers movie. But it's like I think it was when DVD was just getting like to be
Oh
a
yeah.
thing.
That's when they
Um,
still had like options on DVDs where like they would actually do a tutorial if you clicked on it of how to use a DVD remote
how hilarious is that?
and how to like use a DVD menu because DVDs were so fucking new in the early 2000s.
What I think is hilarious is that if you look at adverts from the early 2000s for DVD, they're all like DVD, dum dum dum. See how good a movie at home can be, and it'll be like you'll see like a penny drop and like the clip
Boom!
off and like someone playing the piano and the sound being really crisp, like. And then you watch an advert for Blu-ray and it is exactly
the
the same.
same, yeah.
I just think that's hilarious. That's always really tickled me. Should we wrap up? Is there anything else you wanna?
Yeah, we got everything. Let's wrap up.
I think that was a very fucking good podcast considering we were missing so many people.
Yeah.
I think we did pretty well.
Facebook, here it is right here. Tumblr, here it is right here. I don't update the Tumblr that much anymore. I gotta have someone else run that shit.
That was a poor segue, Greer. Facebook, here it is.
Because I kind of just like put them there at the end while we're talking, and I guess like maybe a whole lot of people don't see it. I put the Tumblr and the Facebook at the near the end for like 20 seconds each.
Okay, that's very good of you, Greer. Well done. I'm gonna pimp. What am I gonna pimp? I'm still doing the horror film. Don't know when it's going to be released. Very exciting. Don't really have anything apart from that to pimp.
Yeah.
Pimped out.
Yeah.
Keep following me on RT Goma.
Oh yeah, that's still a thing.
That's still a thing. She still does that. She still does her half-assed job, pretending she's a real internet reviewer. But anyway, on that note, I think we can probably say arrivederci. So it's been lovely once again, Greer.
Yeah. Also, James Gandolfini died, which is really sad because my dad loves The Sopranos so fucking much.
That's incredibly sad.
So that sucked. I had to tell him that, and he was really sad. So, I know he had an 8-month-old baby.
Jesus.
Which makes me even more depressed. So to leave you on a depressing note, James Gandolfini died.
Well, let's dedicate this podcast to James Gandolfini.
We should. Tony Soprano, meatballs. Other Italian sayings. Can you say anything in Italian?
There's a Family Guy joke where he pretends to talk Italian, but he's really just talking gibberish. I was on the edge of making that, and I remembered your abject hatred for Family Guy.
Yeah, I was just about to tell you to fuck off, so...
I will refrain, but one thing I would recommend is go and find a clip. It's a clip that you posted this morning, Greer, of James Gandolfini on Sesame Street. I think that says it all.
Yeah, that was really sweet. Yeah, everyone should... it's going viral at this moment, so you probably don't have to look far to find it.
Well, on that note, farewell to you all, and a farewell to James Gandolfini, to the wonderful James Gandolfini.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.